What's up, folks? This is Juan Carlos Morales. This is episode number 19 of New Citizens, the podcast. And today I am doing it while I'm stretching because I have a lot of things going on today and I want to make the best of my time. But I also don't want to go this week without recording an episode. I want to tell you what's up. 2020 has been a crazy year, good and bad. This week, 3 days ago, I lost my grandfather. He was sick, and there's some suspicion that he also had the virus that's going around and killing a lot of elderly folk. He was an incredible man who lived an incredible life, and I got to meet rather late because my paternal family was not in my life until I was 26 or 27 when I went to look for them after I had a pretty bad fallout with my mother, who was a Jehovah's Witness. And I found them, I went through the whole process and I found my paternal family with very little information and with a lot of effort. And what happened? And I went to meet them. Unfortunately, my father had passed away a month before, so I never got to meet my dad. And that was very painful for me. That was very painful for me because I really wanted to meet him. My whole life I'd grown up being a certain type of person that did not match my maternal family. I was not like any of them, pretty much. Give me a second here. I'm over here doing this couch stretch. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. Anyway, so I found my paternal family late. My dad had passed away a month prior to that, so I was late for 30 days. You could imagine how much I was beating myself up for that, for not doing it earlier, for being a coward. Now I'll never have a chance to meet my father, and I felt pain, like I never met the guy, but I felt so much pain because, I don't know, it was just a very strange feeling. I never met him. I knew nothing of him, but the minute I found out he died, 30 days prior to me finding this family, I felt so much pain. Like I felt like my dad died, which is exactly what happened. My dad had died and I found out and I was in pain. Something to be said about genetic connection and like just the connection you have with your family, your parents and your kids. Anyways, I flew down that weekend. I was working at Parker Towers during that time, and I took the like 5 or 6 days off. And hold on, let me switch here. And I flew down to meet my family, whoever was alive, which was I have a sister. Her name is Lady. She's an incredible human being. I met my father's wife. I met my grandpa, my grandma, and almost every aunt. He has 5 sisters, I think, 5 sisters in him. And I met some cousins and some extended family. They did a whole thing for me. It was beautiful. But meeting my grandfather was one of the best days of my life. Just meeting him was one of the best days of my life. He wrote me a poem. He was a showman. He was a spokesperson for President of Colombia. He was a radio personality, a TV personality, a music genius. He composed songs for many famous Colombian singers of his time. He wrote the Marine Corps anthem. He did just his life professionally and creatively was incredible, and I just identified myself so deeply with him that first day. And my understanding of who I am came full circle because of that. I finally understood why I am the way that I am. Why I am the way that I am. It made sense. I was learning about my DNA. I learning about my history. And it was just an incredible experience. And I literally, I remember one scenario, they cooked dinner for me. Let me switch here again. They made like a whole thing for me, welcome to the family, we've been looking for you, whatever. That's a different story, I'll tell it on a different day. But basically, Um, basically, there was one point where I was, I remember taking this moment in because I was on a big table with a bunch of people I never met in my life or seen in my life before. There's a bunch of strangers. And I remember sitting there looking at, understanding that there was a bunch of strangers that if I would have seen them 2 days prior on the street, there would have been just people walking down the street. I would have never thought they were related to me. And I'm sitting in a table of strangers, but it felt like they were my family. That's because they were my family, and they are my family. And from that day forward, I tried to establish a really good relationship with them. And I'm not really good at relationships, especially long distance relationships. And today I feel the pain of not trying harder. Fuck, man, I fucked up, I tried my best, but I didn't try my best. I should have tried harder. That's the fucking truth. And now there's nothing I can do. So this week, I try my best to have this relationship with them, especially with him. I was able to establish a better, more frequent relationship with my grandmother. She was more willing to talk and to share stories and to share like that connection. She's a woman. I get along with women, with older women like my grandmother. My other grandmother was my heart. My aunts, I get along better with my aunts than my uncles. I get along better with women for some reason like that. And my grandpa was a little bit like, I felt like he was selfish with his time and his interest in connecting with me. But then again, he was an old man, and maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe he was just tired, or he felt like he was interrupting me. He did call me a few times. I did call him a few times, and I went back to Cali because I was trying to do a documentary on his life because he's lived such an extraordinary life. And I went to Cali, Colombia, to interview him and to get him on board, but he declined. He didn't want to be part of it, and that really pissed me off, man. That pissed me off because here, I haven't seen you my entire life. I meet you, I fall in love with you, I fall in love with your story, and I put together all my resources, and I want to just do this beautiful thing, use my creativity, use my talent that I inherited from you basically, and talk about you and this story and this amazing. And he said no, he didn't want to do it, and so that pissed me off, and kind of that pushed me away from trying to keep in touch with him like I did with my grandmother, for example, like my father's mom. And my grandmother WhatsApped, messaged me telling me that he had passed, and I have this fucking sadness, and the sadness is real. It feels like my grandfather died, because that's exactly what happened. And so here we are. I'm sad. Coronavirus has taken many, many people's grandparents, and this is not the first person I love who I've lost, and it won't be the last. And I am grateful that I was able to meet him. I'm grateful that I was able to find him. I'm grateful that I have this DNA. I'm grateful that all these things have been possible for me. But at the same time, there's a side of me that's pissed and mostly very fucking sad. Anyways, that's what has been going on the past few days, what I've been dealing with. And let me take my shoes off here because I gotta stretch. The 90-90. I don't know what it's called, but I do a 90-90 with my legs, and it's like stretching the hip or something. Anyways, looks like it's gonna take some time to heal from this. I'm not in a rush. I have to embrace the sadness. I have to embrace these things. But there's something that awoke in me with my grandfather's death, and that's the fear of I thought I had that covered. I don't care what people think about me, because I have good intentions and I'm pursuing my full potential, and I want to do good things to help myself, to live an incredible life and help other people, especially first those who surround me. But it took him going to realize that I do still care to a certain level what other people think about me. And that has stopped me now and in the past and in way back and recent past and now from the output of creativity that I have within me. I gotta let it flow. I gotta let it flow. And that's what I'll do. And that's what I'll do from now on. I'm gonna let it flow the way that it flows. And I can't care about what people think anymore as much as I used to. I respect people's opinions, and I feel like you only care about what people think if you're doing something wrong, if you're hurting other people. Then what society thinks is important, because you don't have the right to hurt other people. You don't have the right to step on people, put them down to bring yourself up. That's not the right thing. But if you're doing the right thing with the right intentions, and you know when you're doing the right thing and you know when you're doing the wrong thing, if you're fulfilling your purpose, if you're living your life in accordance with your values, in accordance with what matters to you, in accordance in syntony. Syntony? I don't know what the word is. Sintonía. Within the frequency range of your goals, then whatever anybody says does not matter. And that's something that I thought I had covered, man. I fucking thought I had it covered. And then this hits and somehow this happens and somehow I'm able to realize that I still care to a certain degree what other people think about me. And it's a shame, because so many things that I've wanted to do, I have not done them because of that. But better late than never. And believe me when I say that I think I'm a 34-year-old man, but I feel like I'm 20, and I think everything is possible still. So I'm going for greatness. I'm training like I'm a professional athlete. I'm thinking like I'm a billionaire. And I'm not quitting until I'm deeply sick or a dead corpse. That's when I'll quit. Until then, there's no stopping now. And so episode number 19 is about to be over. Just to tell you guys that that happened, and that realization happened also. And again, somebody else had to go for me to realize something about myself. And I don't understand why things happen like that. I still don't get it. But that's what happened. In any event, don't feel bad for me. I'm in a good place. Do not feel bad for me. I'm in a good place. I am working. I am living free. I am the owner of my destiny, the owner of my present. And yes, I am sad. And it's okay to be sad when bad things happen. When sad things happen, it's okay to be sad. And I'll embrace the sadness and let it fuel the greatness that is to come. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen. I had to do episode number 19 or 18. I forgot which one it is already. And this is what it's about. Don't forget to stay strong, stay healthy, or get strong. And I'll talk to you later. Ciao, ciao.